trusted locally by your Tri-State Quality Ford dealers.
The Emerald City has never looked finer. Welcome to the magnificent Great Northwest for the Final Four. 4 teams harboring a dream of winning the national championship here at the Kingdome come Monday night. Oklahoma State and UCLA on tap in the first national semifinal. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Nance, and it's great to have you with us here on Super Saturday. The UCLA Bruins into the regular season ranked #1 in the polls, and they are the favorite here at the Final Four. However, Oklahoma State arrives in Seattle wearing the glass slipper. And yesterday at the shoot-around, Big Country was wearing out the glass backboards. He shattered the backboard. You've probably seen it by now, and they have shattered the dreams of 4 other teams here in the tournament as we look at their road to Seattle through Drexel, Alabama, Wake, and UMass. In fact, the last 3 games, they've come from behind in the second half to advance. Meanwhile, for UCLA, the Bruins, the #1 seed in the West, as they now take the floor, led by Tyus Edney. Missouri found out about Edney in round 2, and then Mississippi State and UConn, the victims of the Bruins, back in the Final Four for the first time since 1980. Billy, I'm going to give you the glass because I know you're the one guy who can market that piece.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If Big Country takes them to the final game and wins the championship, it'll be like gold in Oklahoma.
It's a big diamond right there.
I guarantee you.
And Big Country has been just outstanding so far in this tournament, hasn't he?
He really has, Jim, and can take in consideration the centers that he's played against so far in the NCAA tournament. He has been outstanding. You can see the inside power moves. Likes to turn, obviously, off his left shoulder, and we'll see some defense against that today.
That's what people love about the Cowboys. They got it inside, and then they have it outside with Randy Rutherford.
Very interesting team with 2 primary scorers. Rutherford really has no limit to the range on his jump shot. The thing that is most spectacular, however, he's the #2 rebounder on this club. Very unusual combination.
All right, Billy, let's get to the X's and O's for the Cowboys. First screen opposite for them.
They have great spacing in their offense. And watch this. Rutherford in the low post will screen up high, trying to get Big Country to come down low. And then coming off this screen where he puts a body on him, he'll get the second screen from Pierce and then roll out to the top and get that patented turnaround jumper. And as I said, there is no limit to his range.
You know, Billy, UCLA has lost only 2 games this season. They are riding a 17-game win streak, the longest win streak for the Bruins since that storied 88-game streak that came to a halt in 1974. One reason why they've been so tough, Ed O'Bannon, first-team All-America.
A 5th-year senior and a guy that everybody is pulling for in this tournament because everybody knows about the terrible knee injury he suffered as he came in with such great promise. But he can score with the best of them. And, of course, Tyus Edney, he ties this team together, Jim. He hits people in the open court, blazing speed. We know about his heart and his ability to take it down and take the big shot when it counts. This is senior leadership at its very best.
Billy, this game is a classic matchup of contrasting styles. Let's talk about the Bruin penetration.
Here we're going to see an out-of-bounds play, but Edney makes the play. We'll see a screen away. Edney comes over the top. When he gets the ball, watch how he has the tremendous ability to find the open man. He really passes up the first option here. Here he is catching the ball, makes his fake, dribble penetration. Not the first option, dumps it in between two, and then there's Bailey for the put away.
All right, the Final Four just minutes away. Starting lineups coming up for Oklahoma State and UCLA.
CBS Sports coverage of the 1995 NCAA Men's Basketball National Semifinal game is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz. All Sport Body Quencher, an official NCAA corporate partner. And by Sprint. We've got everything you need to let you be there now.
What a glorious week we've had in Seattle. And now let's bring it inside for the starting lineups. And for that honor, it's a privilege to introduce the voice of the Final Four for the 18th year out of the Southwest. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Fallon.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Kingdome for today's first national semifinal game between the Oklahoma State Cowboys and the UCLA Bruins. Now let's meet the starting lineups. For Oklahoma State, at forward is 6'6" senior from Joliet, Illinois, number 32, Terry Collins. For UCLA, at forward is 6'8" senior from Lakewood, California, number 31, Ed O'Bannon. For Oklahoma State, at forward is 6'9" senior from Euless, Texas, number 20, Scott Pierce. For UCLA, at forward is 6'6" sophomore from Lakewood, California, number 13, Charles O'Bannon. For Oklahoma State at center is 7-foot senior from Gans, Oklahoma, number 50, Bryant Reed. For UCLA at center is 7-foot senior from Prague in the Czech Republic, number 25, George Zidek. For Oklahoma State at guard is 6'3" senior from Broken Bow, Oklahoma, number 15, Randy Rutherford. 6'5" freshman from Los Angeles, California, number 12, Toby Bailey. For Oklahoma State at guard, a 5'11" junior from South Bend, Indiana, number 35, Andre Owens. For UCLA at guard, a 5'10" senior from Long Beach, California, number 11, Tyus Edney. And the coaches for Oklahoma State in his 5th season, Eddie Sutton. For UCLA in his 7th season, Jim Harris.
It is time before tip-off to bring in the Packer points for this game. Billy, take it away here. What to look for?
Well, Jim, 14 feet, 600 pounds. I'm talking about what's going to be in the lane today. Bryant Reeves, George Zidek. Look for Zidek to really stay on Reeves' left shoulder and force him to go the other direction. The lethal weapon, of course, we're talking about the Big Eight's all-time great three-point shooter, Randy Rutherford. He's a guy that has got to get the offense going for OSU. The tortoise and the hare, really the key story of this game. Which team can force the other guy to play their game? Obviously, both like to play a different style. And then we have number 4, the freshman factor. Mike Krzyzewski mentioned this. What will freshmen do in a game like this? Do they play like freshmen, or do they forget all about it and have another super outing?
Billy, the officials for the first semifinal. And congratulations to this group. Qualifying here also, Dick Paparo, Tom Lopes, Andre Patillo. Bob Donato, the standby official for game 1 today. Ed O'Bannon and his brother Charles, the first set of brothers to start in the Final Four since the McRaes back in 1983 in Albuquerque.
Jim, a lot of people may remember that those two brothers were on the Louisville team in '80 when they won the championship, but Scooter didn't get a chance to play.
No 4 seed, which we're talking about Oklahoma State here, has ever played for a national championship. Georgia lost in '83, Georgia Tech and Arkansas in '90, and Cincinnati in '92. UCLA controls it first.
Man-to-man defense from Oklahoma State. A lot of screening.
Edney with a whistle. Draws the foul from the Cowboys.
Great man-to-man defense by Oak State, but Edney, Jim, with dribble penetration, what we showed early on, something that he is so good at. Owens picks up the quick foul early. Edney's been to the foul line this year, Jim, 171 times. For a guy that has the great turnover assist ratio, that is absolutely terrific. And of course, a 76% shooter, so it shows how he can finish it off.
First team All Pac-10, Mr. Clutch in this year's NCAA tournament.
And coming off the disappointing loss last year, that back problem really hurt not only Edney, but UCLA's chances in last year's tournament against Tulsa.
Well, interestingly enough, in last year's tournament, both of these teams were eliminated by Tulsa. In Oklahoma City, UCLA in the first round, Tulsa defeated, and then round two, they took out Big Country and Company, the Golden Hurricane.
Pierce, a man who has been up and down, screening away, a foul call. Quick whistles in this game, Jim.
Well, that time they got Rutherford for setting a moving pick.
Again, adjustments will have to be made by coaches quickly, particularly Oak State, that does not have a very deep bench. If they get guys in serious foul trouble, it'll be a problem.
Edney in traffic. Pierce is defending O'Bannon. Tough shot, and Big Country snares it.
You see Pierce get out and running. Owens not wanting to turn this into a up and down game, so they pull it up to go to their half-court set.
Collins steps in, and Reeves let it slip away. Oklahoma State has not attempted a shot in its first two trips.
Jim, one of the things about teams that get to the Final Four, they are usually on great defensive runs. And we're seeing two teams playing heads-up man-to-man right now, shutting their opponent out.
Edney. Wow. Billy, that's been the common thread, though, for the four teams that made it here. Shutting down the opponent. UMass shot a season low against Oklahoma State. Scott Pierce and the Cowboys are on the board.
Owens comes right back to Edney. Look at Edney try to follow some traffic.
Well, Pierce almost reached in and got a steal.
Owens doing a smart thing. He's trying to keep the ball away from Edney.
Going the other way. They call a charge on Bailey. He dipped the shoulder, and they whistled him for it.
Don't want to jump to the second game, Jim, but if the game is called like this, with a very fast whistle, it'll have a lot to do with the outcome. This game is very tightly officiated early on. Little switch right there. Good job by Charles O'Bannon picking up Rutherford. There's that 600 pounds inside banging each other.
And there they battle for the first time, and Zedek got him with the body.
Zedek fighting in there. We talked about it. 14 feet, 600 pounds. Why he jumped over there on the left side, I don't know, because that's something Eddie Sutton talked about. He wants him on his left shoulder all night, force him to go back, use that left hand side.
Reeves almost 70% from the line this season.
Jim, a huge game against Alabama. McDyess, who is going to be one of the premier players in the country last year, was a lot for anybody to handle. He played 40 minutes against Alabama, 40 against Wake Forest and Tim Duncan, and 40 against Canby in Massachusetts.
That's 3 straight games playing the whole way, and probably would have been the first one, but he fouled out against Drexel.
Malik Rose was much smaller and tough for him to guard.
Zedek with the hook.
And don't be surprised to see more of the hooks from Zedek. He has really developed the old style Kareem Jabbar sky hook.
Three-pointer nailed by Rutherford.
Bailey's got to get out there and respect that depth of that jump shot.
O'Bannon into Zedek. Oak State comes out of the pack, and Bailey picks up his second. This is the old-fashioned style hook shot.
Well, we talked about Oak State, Bob Curlin, George Mikan back in the 40s. Obviously, they didn't have to play in the wide lane, but that was the hook shot perfected back in the early 40s and 50s.
Owens penetrating, comes up shy. Charles O'Bannon rips it away. Here come the Bruins on the run for the first time, and Collins commits the foul with the body.
And Eddie Sutton waves to him. That's not the foul they want. Very difficult to stop Eddie in the open floor area. Defensive court balance is really critical. There's Eddie Sutton.
59-year-old coach in his 5th year at his alma mater. He's taken all 5 of his clubs here at Oak State to the NCAA tournament. 4 different schools in his career to the tournament, with Creighton, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Oklahoma State on the list. Edney.
So far, Edney feels that he can score against Owen. Owen is going to have to do something to slow him down. Getting too good a shot.
Edney has 5 of the Bruins' 7, and Rutherford let it go out of bounds.
Cameron Dollar on him now, looking for some defensive help. Rutherford really should have put 2 hands on that ball, Jim.
And here's Dollar in the game for Bailey, who sits with the 2.
And that ought to help Oak State concentration a little bit. They turn their heads to talk. Edney fires to the open man in a hurry.
Well, that is the second on the other side for Randy Rutherford. And Keontae Roberts, 6'5" sophomore from Edmond, Oklahoma, comes in. Owens will go out. Rutherford stays on the floor with the 2.
Eddie Sutton didn't take 4 teams, 4 different schools to the NCAA tournament without knowing what he's doing. He sees right away that Edney has been the problem. So he's trying to get some defensive help on him. Owens 6.
Cameron Dollar will shoot one more, 6'1" sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia. Eddie Sutton, who played for Coach Iba, Oklahoma State, 1955 through 58.
Dollar had some nice offensive games, but his key to this lineup is defense, so you can expect him on Rutherford. But that puts a tough matchup out there now, Jim, because there is really only 1 guard in the game. Be interesting to see how they try to match up Edney.
Zedek being brought to the bench.
Trainer. Cut on his knee.
Must be some blood, Billy. So they'll bring in freshman J.R. Henderson. And yeah, cut on the knee for Zedek. So that has to be immediately addressed. Henderson in. Cameron Dollar, because of a lane violation, gets a second opportunity and gets this one to go.
Allows UCLA set up a little press. 2-2-1, full court.
Keontae gets it over to Rutherford.
Nice move by Jim Herrick, realizing that the point guard out of the game for Oak State.
Roberts tipped to the backcourt by Edney, so no violation. Pierce inside the arc. Reeves tips it up and in.
You know, sometimes, Jim, even though that shot didn't go in for Pierce, he sets things up. Everybody on this team will have to take some open shots.
Edney. And Roberts pulls it down. Cowboys look for the lead on this trip. Tipped out by Charles O'Bannon.
A nice little move to set some tempo of their own by Oak State. And here is the putback by Big Country.
As we reach our first timeout, Big Country ties it at 9. Jim Herrick, the Pac-10 Coach of the Year. He traveled from Charleston, West Virginia to Inglewood, California back in 1964. Got a job for Morningside High School there. In 64, the same year that John Wooden took UCLA to the Final Four for the first time.
Well, he actually first championship he won 64. Jimmy got there the first time in 62. But Coach Wooden, of course, and Jim Herrick have been very close friends. I know Coach Wooden would like to be here. He's at the McDonald's All-American game this weekend.
Collins gives the Cowboys a second chance. Herrick toiled first as a head baseball coach in high school, then the JV basketball coach. There's a putback, and Oak State takes the lead behind Keontae Roberts.
Roberts coming off that bench, and look at who is guarding Edney. Roberts on Edney. Let's see if Pius doesn't take it with a dribble.
O'Bannon on the board for the first time, and he does it with a 3.
Against Connecticut, Ed was 0 for 6 from 3, so a good sign. This is going to be interesting matchup on both ends. Roberts and Edney. He's got to be careful on that dribble. Trying to help out on Big Country.
Oh, and O'Bannon knocks it right off of Pierce. They rule it the other way.
Wrong call. Wrong call. Without question, it hit Pierce's leg. Without question, it hit Pierce's leg.
Jason Scare, a 6'7" freshman from Deer Park, Texas, in for the Cowboys. Pierce.
Jim, we have some great matchups on the floor right now. Roberts and Edney, and then Henderson on Reeves. I think Reeves can score on Henderson. It's going to take some help, and they're setting him up right now.
4 on the shot clock. And he traveled with 1 second left on the shot clock.
Poor execution by Oak State. They've got to take advantage of the weight differential between Henderson and Reeves. And now UCLA has to take the advantage of the quickness between Edney and Roberts.
Henderson. Charles O'Bannon keeps it alive and 1.
A great player inside the foul line as an offensive talent. Charles O'Bannon's only 6 for 29 from 3, but you put him inside 15 feet and he can create shots. Terrific lift. A lot of moves inside. Scare, who's a good athlete himself, gets caught.
O'Bannon, who averages 13 a game, gets the 3-point play. Bruins lead by 4. Andre Owens returns, the starting point guard.
Now that sets up a more traditional matchup of point guards. Roberts really did an interesting job on Edney during that time. Edney really didn't challenge him.
Reeves keeps it alive, surrounded and then stolen by Charles O.B. Edney has it stripped away by Owens. Let's get a quick report now from Michelle Tafoya. Michelle.
Well, George Zedek is still on the bench. They taped up his knee pretty well with that cut. It turns out trainer Tony Spino told me a scab came off of his knee. He's also got a pretty visible bump on his head that he was holding earlier in the game, but that doesn't seem to be bothering George. Let's send it back to you, Jim.
But, Jim, it looks like that what Jim Herrick wants to do is to match speed for speed. So far, he's gotten by with it.
Three-pointer. And Billy, you mentioned that he didn't make one against UConn, but he had one game this year where he made 7, tying Reggie Miller's school mark, so he can get it going
without
with the streaks.
That was against Cal.
And he makes the steal at the other end.
Almost backcourt, great pass.
Dollar into Edney. Oh, Final Four highlight there.
Jim, what's happening right now? We talked about which team is going to play at their pace. UCLA is forcing the break. Oak State not getting the ball to Reeves down low. Tempo getting too quick.
And Dollar almost makes the steal. Bruin basketball, they say. After a brilliant pass, look at Edney underneath.
How about the concentration? He was looked right up over the top of his head. Perfect English as he laid up that shot.
This is Oklahoma State's biggest deficit of the tournament. They had been down 8 against UMass. And
a huge nightmare for them. A 9-point lead is like a 15-point lead against a team that wants to play in the 80s.
O'Bannon. Oklahoma State has the numbers, so they'll take advantage. Rutherford on a wing. Whoa!
Pius went for that play. I don't know why he went for that block.
We got red zone going on here, you right?
You know that Rutherford, tremendous athlete, great leaper, terrific rebounder. I don't know why Tyus even challenged him. He took some hit on the floor here. He didn't have the angle. See, Jim, why he went up for the block, I'll never know. Not a good idea in his part, but shows a lot of guts.
Well, when Eddie takes a spill like that, the first thing you worry about is how you land on your hands.
Without question.
It brings Zedek back in.
But Jim Herrick talked about taking Edney out of a ball game earlier in his career, and he said, I learned a lesson from Bobby Hurley and Mike Krzyzewski. You just let the guy in there, suck it up for a couple minutes and go. But he took a heck of a fall there, and with a 9-point lead, you can afford to sit him for a minute or two.
Toby Bailey also back in. Rutherford will shoot one more. When we met with Coach Herrick this week, that was kind of his constant theme, Billy. Lessons learned in life. And you mentioned one of them, taking Edney out. Seemed to be his battle cry, didn't it?
That's right. He said he had a good lead against Michigan. Everything was going their way. Decided to rest them and never got the momentum back in the game.
Lessons learned in life. Zedek outside, and Little Owens underneath. The 5'11" junior pushes it ahead. Rutherford to Reeves, and Henderson. Now they'll send Reeves to the line for two. Coming up between games, Pat Quinn and Coach K will hear from the winners and losers from game one. Pat will have a conversation with his airness. Doritos presents Inside the Game with Michael Jordan.
Young man who had a pretty good NCAA tournament as a freshman, as we're seeing some freshmen out here tonight.
Pretty good.
What I see, though, Jim, in this game so far is that Eddie Sutton and his game plan to play half court at a time is not working. So far, his team is getting wrapped up in this quickness battle. And even though they've got to take advantage of the numbers sometimes, it does not bode well for them to get in this kind of a running game.
Henderson swatted away by Roberts. Robert Rutherford will pull up.
Roberts playing very well off the bench. We're really not waiting for Reeves to get position yet.
Ooh. Another dangerous pass. Tipped by the Bruins. 10 on the shot clock. Roberts driving beautifully for two.
Terrific job off the bench by Roberts. He's doing it on both ends of the floor.
So 6 unanswered for the Cowboys.
He had an excellent game against Wake Forest. 6 out of 8, 13 points, 6 rebounds. Really key. Looking for the hook.
Going with the left one this time. Dollar saves it. Working the baseline. Wow, put it up with the left hand.
Dollar and Edney, Jim. 2 miracle layups.
Well, 22-17 UCLA, but keep in mind, Oak State got off to a slow start in all 4 games so far in the tournament. Randy Rutherford was saying that's been really a flaw for us all season, but we're a senior team, and if we get down early, we don't fold our tent.
Well, you don't win the Big 8 and go through the games they did in the Eastern Regional and never fold up.
Here traveled.
I don't know if he did, Jim. I think that it was an unusual looking play, but I don't think he ever released his pivot foot.
And we have a break here. Oak State has turned it over 8 times already. Well, the Cowboys have averaged only 10 turnovers a game in the tournament this year, and already with 8 in the first 9 minutes. Eddie Sutton first attended a Final Four 40 years ago. Then a student at Oklahoma State. He hitchhiked to Kansas City with some teammates and went up to the ticket window and got tickets as his mom, Burl, looks on. Got tickets for the final between Bill Russell in San Francisco and Tom Gola and LaSalle. And then hitchhiked home. That was 40 years ago.
I was laying on my couch in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, listening to that game on the radio. I'd never heard of Bill Russell. I was just coming along, and there was no way anybody could be better than Tom Gola. As we all learned, Bill Russell was part of championships for many years to come.
On the blocks, open Reeves. Got bumped a little bit, but then soft touch.
See how he turned, Jim? Zedek late getting there, but Oak State on that timeout wisely, getting the ball to their big guy.
Now Zedek wanting position, but UCLA swings it around. Edney wants to challenge Owens.
Owens wanted a turnover there. He's got to be careful.
Edney got to step on him again. Let's say Henderson came in over the back.
UCLA final turns to Henderson.
Watch the back screen here by Rutherford. Really strong. Dollar tries to do the job by holding up, but Big Country beats him to the spot and then does that customary turn inside.
By the way, that foul is the second on Henderson. So 2 on Henderson, 2 on Bailey for the Bruins. 2 for Rutherford of the Cowboys.
Reeves still getting good position inside. Triple team down on him. They are really looking to get it. The big guy really works.
Owens lost control of it in the arms of O'Bannon. 4 on 3, O'Bannon. Yes.
Brilliant play, Jim. Didn't you think he was going to pass that thing? Terrific open court movement, and that's one thing UCLA has at almost every position. They've got guys that can put the ball on the floor and take it the length. O'Bannon, one of the best, certainly one of the best forwards in the country at that.
Outside, Zedek pushes Reeves, and they say now Zedek bumped him a little too forcefully, so they'll call one on him right there. And for Zedek, that is his second.
You watch him getting behind, trying to keep Reeves out. Good strategy here. Get him out a step or two beyond where he wants to shoot. You can see O'Bannon coming down there on the double team, but the foul takes place first.
Second on Zedek, 7th on UCLA, so we're in a 1-and-1. Reeves with the 1-and-1.
Jim went to the foul line 10 times on McDice, was 8 out of 10.
You know, after he tore down the backboard yesterday, some people asked Zedek, what did he think of Reeves doing that? And he said, that is my dream, to one day tear one down. Charles O'Bannon, Toby Bailey will return for UCLA.
And you can see Jim Herrick saying, hey, I'm not stopping the guy with my power. See if I can stop him with quickness. So it'll be Henderson back on him again. That'll require a lot of doubling down inside because Reeves certainly has a lot of weight and strength on him and experience. Senior against freshman.
24-21 UCLA and a turnover. Well, let's compare the two big guys with their population. 218 in Gans, 1,000,002 in Prague.
And we understand George's father's team, club team, is in the championship run.
Former national coach for Czechoslovakia. And O'Bannon with another steal. He's having a big game on the defensive end, too. Charles called for the charge.
Boy, that was a great jump stop. Pretty good acting job by Collins, but a terrific hit ahead. You can see the good jump stop. Charles probably didn't commit the contact first, but got called. And Jim Herrick didn't like it. Now we're going to take a look at the zone for the first time, Jim, by UCLA. Now, look for Randy Rutherford. They've got to be aware of him stepping out for a jumper. There he is.
Only 2 players in history have made more threes in a season than Rutherford. Reeves left open at the free throw line.
Well, you go 2-3 zone, and a postman steps up in the foul line and gets a jumper.
They've climbed back from 9 down, only 1 back now. Henderson, nice move to the hole, but couldn't finish it.
Somebody better come back for the ball. You don't want this man bringing it up. Nice play. Rutherford's open.
He'll take the three. Reeves.
Got by with a push-off,
He
Jim.
sure did. Pushed off against Henderson, no whistle.
First time he's starting to bend over a little bit, looking for some extra air. Well, Pierce met the ball. They missed it. Screen on O'Bannon.
Back foot on the line. Another turnover. We reached the under 8-minute timeout. Bryant Reeves has 12 points. The Cowboys are only one down. Oklahoma State with a strong field goal percentage to get back into this game, down 20-11 at one time. The big country, big numbers, 12-4, perfect at the line.
Jim, those two numbers that jump out there, those field goal shooting percentage, to go 58 and 47%. You know, these teams have been winning by holding opponents down under 40.
And sometimes under 30.
That's right. So obviously, the job is not getting done. And you mentioned under 30, Massachusetts against Oak State shot 28%. We're talking about a quality team. So they're not getting it done on the defensive end, either team.
O'Bannon with a hook. Reeves says no, Toby Bailey.
Yes, he really did, didn't he? He looked at him and said, freshman, get out of my way. You're in another league, and UCLA stays in that zone, matching up. They're flattening out the 2-3.
Reeves, Henderson that time stripped it away. Charles O'Bannon pull up.
That was really an outstanding play by Edney. He was looking ahead. He throws the defense. He knew all along that Charles O'Bannon was coming to his right as a trailer. So after he throws the defense, he gave it back to the trailer. Very smart.
Well, Reeves that time. That's the second time it's happened, too. Just took his eye off on it.
He sure did. He didn't catch it first. If they're going to give Edney that jumper, he's going to take that jumper off the dribble.
That way, 31.
And they call it on Ed O'Bannon for pushing off this time. His first. By the way, earlier in the women's national semifinals, Tennessee advanced to the championship game to face the Yukon Huskies. Well, Rebecca Lobo, 27-point victory over Stanford.
Jim, it was inevitable and great for women's basketball that the two real power giants go up against each other. They played earlier this year with Connecticut winning on their home floor. This will be interesting.
1-1 for Pierce. That's the first missed free throw. The Cowboys had hit the first 8. Charles O'Bannon again.
This team really gets out in the open floor. Everybody can catch the ball. Everybody can run and finish. Very quick team on the floor now with Zidek out of there.
Well, the Cowboys had 2 trips to take the lead. Don't do it. Now UCLA opens up a 5-point lead.
You see how they flattened out the zone because they know what Rutherford wants to do. They're doing a good job talking, so they're leaving shots on the perimeter out front.
Pierce.
Transfer from Illinois has got to make some of those.
Toby Bailey back from Henderson. Freshman to freshman.
Well, what did we say? What will the freshmen do? Will they be in awe of this place in the game? Obviously not. Freshman factor very positive for UCLA. See, Collins doesn't want the shot, Jim.
Reeves does. And Pierce follows. They missed 2 chippies.
And they've got the numbers going the other way.
Spin away by Edney, and behind the back that worked against Missouri. Another spin move, and he'll head to the line for a couple.
That's another foul on Owens. Here we see a great give and go by the 2 outstanding freshmen from UCLA. Give it, get it back, cut to the basket. That's as old as the peach basket. Terrific play.
Deontay Roberts returns. He's given them some effective minutes off the bench. That's the second on Owens. And now the slippery Tyus Edney after some nifty ball handling.
Jim, the zone is really creating some problems for Oak State in the fact that Rutherford, who they want to get shots from the perimeter is running baseline. UCLA has flattened out the zone, meaning they're moving it from a 2-3 with everybody concentrating on the baseline, leaving open shots on the perimeter right out front, but nobody is looking to take it. Now watch what happens when Rutherford goes to baseline. See, there's a shot for Collins, there's a shot for Owens, but there's no shot for anybody else. There it is.
Owens, three-pointer, much needed.
That's what was open. You think Edney takes Owens again, Jim? Try to pick up another foul.
Look at that. Inside, Edney spotted Charles. Put it up quickly.
What made that play was the great spacing by UCLA. Again, without Zidek in the middle, everybody can play and surround the defense.
Deontay Roberts, free throw line.
He's having an excellent game.
Ed O'Bannon. Rutherford slaps the rebound.
There's that unusual combination. Great three-point shooter and second leading rebounder from the guard position. See,
like Corey Beck of Arkansas.
Yeah, exactly. Very unusual. He can't get a shot against this zone.
Collins has to take it. Two open. Three-pointer.
Hurt his ankle. Came down on his ankle. He's on the floor.
The other end, Charles O'Bannon lays it in. They'll have a whistle now.
Nothing they could do about it. Here he comes down. We see it so often.
Landed right on Bailey.
Yep, right on the ankle.
We've got the under 4-minute timeout. UCLA 4-point lead.
They get no kick being thrown from a plane. 1,000-foot fall doesn't thrill them at all. So tell me, why should it be true that they get a kick out of do?
Because of one man, Randy Rutherford, over in the corner, look at how the UCLA zone gets flattened out behind the foul line. That means that somebody's going to be open on the wing. Watch what happens. Owens got the shot. So even though Rutherford does not get the assist, he really ought to be credited with something. But because of his great outside shooting, UCLA had to respect it on the baseline.
And Collins on the next trip knocked down a three, but landed on the right ankle, right off the foot of Bailey. You think he'll be back, though, Billy?
I really do. Senior player, you know, you don't save anything. And the way he got up and walked off, I think he'll be back in this game.
He's with best friends with Bryant Reeves and his roommate on the road. Two seniors.
Owens has got to take up some slack here.
Wow, that was up there. Reeves brought it down a second time.
Jim, he's a very deceiving young man. With all that bulk, he has very soft hands, even in traffic. So he uses his body to ward you off, and the great hands to hang on. There's that very serious foul.
They got a hand check on the other end, which is the third on Owens. But look at
those soft hands.
In a soft touch, too.
Oh, yeah.
A dilemma on the other end, but let's look at the second try here by Reeves.
Look at the concentration, too, inside, putting that ball back up.
Well, that's the third on Owens, that hand check. 1-and-1.
I am really surprised with 2:46 to go that Eddie Sutton's leaving him in. Roberts did a pretty nice job on Edney. Edney didn't try to penetrate on him. Be a very serious problem if Owens picks up another one, and Edney's a smart enough player to challenge him. Matter of fact, John Wooden called Michael Warren the smartest player he ever had and says Edney reminds me of Michael Warren. So that's a pretty good indication that he knows how to play this game. Telegraph the pass.
Edney trying to get it ahead. Owens back. then O'Bannon has it stripped away. Call it a block.
Jim, Deontay Roberts has had an excellent first half. You know, he's really the key as to how Oak State's been able to stay in here.
Rutherford, who hasn't really got on track. Edney 3.
Kind of off balance.
Finally pulled down by Scare.
You can see the lack of experience from Scare. He had the numbers, but I bet you he's been preached to. We don't want to be in a running game. So as a freshman, he waited on everybody. He really had the numbers.
Reeves.
Now Henderson looks over at his coach and said, "You told me to turn him back to that side." He makes the shot anyway.
They figured he makes 90% of his shots turning left.
Right.
But not that time. Big Country with 16, and it's a 2-point ball game. UCLA in front.
There's Edney going to use Owens a little.
Henderson too strong, and Owens thought about it for a moment of running.
Big Country was like a policeman there. He put his hand down and said, "Stop. I want to rest a little bit." They'll have to give it up, though. They go to a little 4 corners here. A little different offensive set.
10 on the shot clock. Draws the whistle.
I'm going to tell you, the experience of Big Country, realizing Henderson can't handle him with size, taking advantage of him.
That's foul on Henderson, his third, and let's get a quick report from Michelle Tafoya.
Well, guys, Terry Collins, I've been told, has a sprained ankle. The training staff wrapped him up, and as Billy mentioned, he will come back in this game, but that right ankle has been sprained. Jim?
All right, we have another player now saddled with 3 fouls. It's the freshman J.R. Henderson for UCLA. Zedek in for him now.
Jim, Owens has 3 fouls. You've got 34 seconds to go. He's matched up with Edney. You know Edney's going to have the ball. I am really surprised that Eddie Sutton has not taken him out of the game. I mean, that would be a very cheap foul to pick up, but very serious for his club.
This free throw for the tie.
And we're on the mark for a mid-70 game. So neither team has really established the tempo they want yet. A little higher score than what Oak State might want, a little lower score than UCLA.
Well, Edney really knows how to shine in these last-second situations. Remember the UConn first half coming to a close?
But again, the serious problem here for Owens is how do you stop him and not pick up another foul?
Can Edney do it again before the buzzer?
Well, he gave up his dribble.
Yep. O'Bannon from the corner. And we're going to the locker room with a tie ball game. UCLA led by 9 at one time. Cowboys fought back to within 1, and then it went back to an 8-point lead. And the Cowboys catch them at the intermission now. It's 37-all. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA basketball championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the 1995 NCAA Men's Basketball National Semifinal game is sponsored by Oldsmobile, the official car of the NCAA Championships, Cellular One, and by Nike, who encourages you to participate in the lives of America's youth.
Let's face